Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, is the tight end 2 for a lot of folks. He's the tight end 1 for some folks. We're going to get into a very athletic profile. We're going to check out his tape. We're going to check out his stats. And we're going to talk actionable fantasy football advice. There's no better way to do it than to turn it over to a Michigan man here, John. We got a Wolverine for you.
Matt, I don't think I've ever seen as pathetic of an offense from a defending national champion. And I had to watch all those Michigan games as a fan. This is how bad the numbers were for the defending national champs. They were 129th in total offense. Matt, I knew they were bad, but that means there were only like 4 schools worse than the Wolverines on offense. They averaged a pathetic 286 yards per game. That's rushing and receiving, folks. And they scored only 22 points. Despite this abysmal offensive environment, Colston Loveland shined for the Wolverines. It's actually pretty amazing how well he played despite 3 different quarterbacks, none of whom could throw the football, Matt. He had 56 receptions, 582 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He earned second team honors as an All-American and in the Big Ten. He was named the John Mackey Award semifinalist. So, Matt, as a junior, he had a really good season. But you got to go back to where this young man started. He was a 4-star prospect in Idaho, the number 1 player in the state, and the number 10 tight end in the nation coming out of high school. As a senior, he earned the Gatorade Player of the Year in Idaho, and he had 62 catches, 968 yards, and 14 touchdowns. He also carried the ball 33 times for 352 yards and 4 touchdowns. What I like about him, Matt, he also played on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker. 66 tackles, 5.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions. So we know coming out of high school, he was uber athletic. He enrolls at Michigan in 2022, and he played in all 14 games, and he made 5 starts as a true freshman. He had 16 receptions for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. Here in the offensive and co-special teams Rookie of the Year honors for the Wolverines. But Matt mentioned this to me off film before we recorded. You have to watch the J.J. McCarthy film. And Matt was completely right. As a sophomore, Colston Loveland had 45 catches for 649 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Matt, it's almost like 2 different players in 2 completely different programs. He finished second on the team in catches and yards behind Roman Wilson. He was named All Big Ten selection. Considering the passing game that this young man played in for 3 years, his production profile is actually pretty strong, and he might have first-round consideration in the NFL. Matt, you mentioned the difference in the tape. What did you find when you studied both years?
Yeah, you mentioned it here, but I think it's just important to emphasize the 20. We're going to watch 2024 film because it's not all bad, right? And we're looking for the way that players win, and you could see the way that Colston Loveland wins in 2024. He wins with athleticism. He wins with good ball tracking. He wins with reliable hands. I think what we're going to see with Colston Loveland is he wins well in traffic. But there really is, like, if you're judging Colston Loveland just off of what you watched from the Michigan offense in 2024, or just even off of watching only 2024 film study, you're making a mistake. You have to go back. You have to add 2023 game film. And we're always willing to do that when we understand the context, and there's very reasonable context for that. But that being said, let's get into the 2024 film because there is plenty to like, and you're going to see right off the bat here, good athleticism. He's a good move tight end. He moves well. Yeah. He's smooth. He's a smooth mover for his size. He's winning after the catch. You know, you're going to see Loveland. It's a bit of a basic route tree, but he will win in the short field. This is a really good play.
Nice.
Yeah, because he went up, he extended well, good late reaction skills, but he improvises. You're going to see Colston Loveland improvise a lot in order to win in the 2024 offense. Good reaction skills here. Making a late play on that ball. You're going to see good. Look at that. Look at that reaction skill. Tipped ball. He's able to bring it in. He catches it in double. Actually, that was kind of triple coverage there. To be honest, it was just a heavily trafficked area.
Yeah.
So he's reliable. He's bringing in everything on target, and he extends his frame well. By the way, we're watching the Illinois tape when they had those throwback jerseys. Woof. Terrible jerseys. He has some yak potential. If you're into tight ends with some yak potential, Colston Loveland definitely has some of that. He can shake. He can move. So he's got some elusiveness as well to him. Certainly has the type of mold where you'd get excited about him from a fantasy football perspective. Now, one thing that I don't get super excited about when I watch Colston Loveland's tape, and this is consistent in 2023 and 2024, I think right now he's a liability in the blocking game. Now, he is willing, he's aggressive, he'll fire out of his snap, but when he's run blocking, he misses assignments. Like, he is not a reliable guy to run behind. And I think the NFL will knock him on that. It's actually worse, in my opinion, in pass protection. I mean, he gets beat off the edge often in pass protection. And again, you're saying to yourself, okay, well, I don't care. I'm not in a points per block league, right? But it does matter, because if you can't put your hand in the dirt, the sets, the formations that you're available to be added to in the offense are limited, right? And so if you're only on the field in certain formations and certain sets, that's going to limit your ability to get targets. I mean, it's a simple 1-to-1, right? No targets, no catches, no fantasy points, right? So it's not it's not knocking out his profile. It's not saying he can't be really productive in terms of fantasy, but you can't ignore it. You have to talk about the blocking. And I think too many people are willing to just totally bypass the liability he is in the blocking game. But I got to tell you, John, there's no liability to checking out the awesome resources available over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. You have to head on over there, check out the rookie rankings, the dynasty rankings, the Devy rankings, the 2025 seasonal projections with fantasy output projections for every single player in the NFL. We have our rookie guide coming out next month. We are now doing one-on-one draft strategy calls, 30-minute calls with me, 24/7 personalized advice in the Rookie Big Board Discord. All that and more available for just $5 a month, or take advantage of the annual membership. You sign up for that annual membership, you get 15% off. Whether you're watching or whether you're listening, the link to join our community, the link to support us is going to be in the episode description. And if this is your 3rd, 4th, 15th, 20th rookie profile of the season, I promise you are going to love being a part of the Rookie Big Board community. All right, John, we talked about it here. Funky Michigan offense. The tape's a little funky, but still good. I'm really curious, man. What do these stats look like?
You mentioned his ability to block, and I agree with you. I think that's a liability. And I think there's one thing no one's discussing. There will be organizations, Matt, that he falls down their rankings at the position because they're looking for a more of a blocking or a bigger tight end in the run game. He's 6'6", 248. He's an athlete who can play in line, but he's not your classic in dirt pounder road grinder, which might limit snaps in the NFL. But from a pass catching prospect, Matt, my model really likes him. Yards per reception is 12.5. The benchmark is 12. For a tight end to average that in a really bad offense, Matt, that's an impressive number. His catch percentage, you saw those. We were watching some of those tapes. Were those quarterbacks drilling the ball into him with a very nice ability to gain yak yards? And his catch percentage of 66% is really nice. Team aerial dominator, 35%. That is really beefy for a tight end. I even like his receiving yards per team pass attempt, 1.89. My tight end benchmark is 1.5. I think there's a wide range of outcomes, Matt. And everyone's looking and talking about his ceiling. I think people are ignoring the floor. We have seen this type of profile from tall, lanky, undersized tight ends. Matt, what should fantasy footballers know about Colston Loveland?
Yeah, let's put it into actionable advice to help folks win their rookie drafts and win those dynasty fantasy football championships. So the draft capital is going to be good. Let's start there. I expect him to be a top 50 pick. I think 21 to 50 is the right spot. I've seen in some mock drafts, folks think he's going to be a top 20 pick. I'm not there. I think he's going to be a good, very end of day one. I think he could go early day two because you mentioned it, John. I don't think every team is going to think that he is a good fit for their offense, but he should get top 50. It's good draft capital, no matter what. Top 50 pick is great for a tight end. So that's going to lead to him, I think, being an early second round rookie draft ADP. You could even see him go in the first round of tight end premium leagues. And I know there's folks that are excited about Colston Loveland. And I've heard chatter, some folks want to take him above Tyler Warren. So there might be that aggressive person in your league. That's why I bring that up. At that price, 201 to 204, I'm considering him a fade. And that doesn't mean I don't want any Colston Loveland, but I want between, 0 to 10%. So, if I'm drafting in, say I'm drafting in 20 rookie drafts, hypothetically, because I'm a sicko and I have 20 rookie drafts, I'm not going to leave 20 of them with Colston Loveland. But 1 or 2 would be good. I don't want to totally fade him. But if I'm only playing in 2 or 3 rookie drafts, I'm probably not taking him in that spot. And it has less to do with Colston Loveland and more to do with the type of strong value at the wide receiver and running back position that you're going to get in the early second round. My fantasy football value comparison, the way that I expect Colston Loveland to contribute to your fantasy lineup is similar to Mike Gesicki. That's where he falls if you compare him to my rankings, right? Think about Mike Gesicki. In the right offense, in the right years, he's a top 6 tight end, right? Top 8 tight end. When he's in a high volume role, in a high volume capacity where he's really not asked to put his hand in the dirt, he can be a really effective player. He's also had some years where he's struggled to finish as a top 15 tight end, right? And so it might not be the most consistent production, and Loveland might be a little bit more landing spot dependent than other players in this draft. Still, a good player. I want some exposure to him, but I don't want a whole lot of exposure to him. I do, though. I do want a whole lot of exposure to the resources at the Rookie Big Board, and I think all of our viewers and listeners will enjoy that as well. I'm telling you, folks, rankings, rookie guide, draft strategy calls, Discord, there is no better value out there than $5 a month to get ahead of your league mates. It's March. It's draft season. Now is the time to join patreon.com/rookiebigboard. And the rookie profiles will continue because class is in session all draft season long with the FF Educator and the Gridiron Scholar. We're going to be back real soon with another rookie profile.